And we are live. Welcome, Mystery and Thriller fans. I'm your on air host, Sarah DeBello, and I am so excited tonight to welcome back legendary book critic, Oline Cogdill, here to give us the inside scoop on her best books of the year, which she is revealing exclusively first here on Mystery and Thriller Mavens tonight. Oline Cogdill, welcome back to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. How are you?
I'm fine, Sarah, and thank you for having me back again. I've wanted to do the show through the year, and certain situations arose, but I'm so happy to be here to cut down on time because this has been such another good year for mysteries. I'm going to do September, October, November, and December so people can get their book buying money out now and buy.
Yeah, your book buying out money out now. Now, Aline, how many books do you read a year that we are pulling from?
Right now I'm probably only gonna talk about 20.
Okay.
I last year I think I read 130 because
Oh my God.
I review 10 to 12 a month. Sometimes it's only 10. And sometimes
Wow.
it's actually 14. So I feel very privileged that I can review for the Sun Sentinel in Fort Lauderdale. I tried it, and those go out in the wires, and a couple of bookstores pick those up for their newsletter. I try to do 2 a week for them, but sometimes I have to pull back to just 1. And I review for Publishers Weekly and Shelf Awareness, and they're just all great outlets.
Well, you are a beloved figure in the mystery and thriller community and a legendary book critic. So we are all hanging breathlessly on your every word and cannot wait to hear what your top picks are. Britton is joining us from Facebook saying, "Hi, Aline, looking good."
Britton actually reviews for me for our theater website. And she is a short story writer, an editor, and hi, Britton. Thank you for coming. She's terrific.
Well, I'm seeing so many other people join us as well, and Aline, let's kick off. Tell us some of your top book picks of the year.
First of all, I want to make clear that this is only my opinion. I am in my 8th year as a judge for the LA Times Book Prize. These are only my opinion, and I'm on a couple other panels for best books of the year. Again, only my opinion. So don't take this to the bank. Yeah, actually do take it to the bank. Take it to the bookstore bank. Let's start with September. And again, this has just been such a thrilling year that it was actually hard for me to come down with just a few for this fall. And I know some people get mad. Where's my book? They were all good. They were all good. They're all pretty. Okay, first one, let's go with September. I know September's gone, but there's books out there still to be bought. The Serial Killer Guide to San Francisco. This is by Michelle Cholinard, I think is how you pronounce her last name. I'm not sure. But, it's got a very provocative, sensational title. Forget about that. It's very much about family, legacy, and bonds, and kind of seeking out your roots rather than about trying to find a murderer. It's about a woman who has always known that her grandfather was a serial killer who died in prison, but it kind of led her to her own career, which is a tour guide of serial killer spots in San Francisco. But
Wow.
it's not at all lurid, and she begins to wonder, really, was her grandfather the guilty person? Because there's another murder that happens. It's great scenes in San Francisco. Every chapter starts with a little murder scene of where this happened. It's just a really terrific book. Highly recommend that. Also, the next one, Death by Misadventure by Tasha Alexandra. Sorry why I put my glasses on. This is such a fun series. It's a historical series, and it's about a woman named Lady Emily, who is a sleuth. And her investigation this time revolves around the Mad King Ludwig. This is, well, actually before he went mad. She's looking at a locked room mystery. It's set in the Bavarian Alps. She's such a graceful writer, and I think her series is just really terrific.
Oh,
So
fabulous.
let's go to October. Leave the Girls Behind by Jacqueline Bublitz. I often have trouble pronouncing last names, so I hope everyone kind of bears with me. You know, we think of most murder victims as being very obvious. The victim, of course, their family, their friends, and how that affects them. But this one kind of looks at those victims that are more obscure, the ones that we don't really think about. The people who may have encountered that murderer, may have dated him, and not really known his how evil he was. And it's also kind of some of his own family that didn't know what was going on. I think what's also interesting is that many of the women he encountered in this book ended up marrying very violent men. Because it was like something was in there. It's just a really terrific book. Leave the Girls Behind. I highly recommend. Actually, I highly recommend every book, so I should stop saying that.
Aline, we have some fans in the audience. Sharon Bishop saying, "So glad to be here tonight." Oh my goodness, we have a New York Times bestselling author Danielle Trussoni in the audience saying, "Hello, Aline and Sarah." Hi, Danielle. Welcome to the conversation. We have some other comments too. I'm going to get to those next as well.
Well, ironically, I was just going to get to Danielle Trussoni.
What?
Yeah, that's next on my list here. The Puzzle Book. I love this book. This is the second in her series. It's about a young man, not a young man, he's in his 30s or something, who had a brain injury. And it left him with this syndrome called a sudden acquired savant syndrome. He solves puzzles. He can look at a puzzle and immediately solve it that no one else can. He's also kind of a celebrity because he's written several crossword puzzles, and he's just become famous. The Puzzle Box, which is a sequel to The Puzzle Master, which was out last year, and which again was one of my favorites of last year.
That was one of my favorites too.
It's such a good book. Mike is hired by the Imperial family of Japan. Oh, good. There's Alexander. That's great. And there's
wait, hold on. I'm removing this. This is malfunctioning. Okay, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Anyway, he's hired by the Imperial family of Japan.
Yes.
To open up this box that has been closed since it was built in 1868 by a blind carpenter. People have died trying to open it. No one can seem to open it up. And, it's full of traps and booby traps and poison. And he has to look at it and figure out how to get in there. It has great look at Asian culture, female samurai, which I never knew that existed. And it's just an astounding book. And I also love, he has a dog. It's an emotional support dog, a little dachshund. And he goes everywhere with him. I know, dog lover too. She goes everywhere with him. And at one point he's ready to get on the plane to go to Japan on a private plane. And he's trying to bring a female friend of his. And the person who's hiring him says, "We were only expecting 1.5."
Oh my God. Aline, I loved that line. 1.5, all of my drink and a little conundrum, aka Connie, the little oh my God, right. Little dachshund. It just melts me.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. And Danielle is saying, "What? Oh my." She says,
those people, as long as the dog is alive at the end, I'm okay.
Oh my God. If anyone hurts a dog, that's an automatic no for me.
I like the book a lot. I reviewed it. Danielle, I'm not sure the review has been posted yet, but it was a really astounding book. Moving on, the last one at the wedding. And this is by Jason Rukalak. Is that how you pronounce it? Okay.
I don't know.
Father. I have really trouble with the last name sometimes. About a father who's been estranged from his daughter, his only child, for several years. And he's absolutely thrilled when she calls him not only to make amends, but to invite him to her wedding.
Mm.
and he doesn't quite understand. He thinks she's marrying some struggling artist, but he's like the son of a billionaire. And he gets to this palatial estate, and he just wonders what's going on, because the security guards are all ex-military. Everyone has to sign a DNA. It's just a very interesting thing that this man he's a UPS driver, so this is not his world.
That's not his world.
Yeah, and he begins to wonder about his new son-in-law when
Uh-huh.
he gets an anonymous note saying that he is responsible years ago for a missing woman. And so he really wonders what's going on.
Right.
And, then there's another murder. There always is. Really good book. Really good book.
I love that. And you're a longtime fan of Michael Connelly. I feel like I see him on your lists often, because you said you say he writes, he writes setting and character really well.
And he's actually the very next one. I don't think it's a year unless we have a Michael Connelly book.
Yay.
And his latest one came out, I think, 2 weeks ago or a week ago, called The Waiting. And it's billed as a Bosch and Ballard novel. But which Bosch? Because, of course, it's Harry Bosch, the longtime LAPD detective who's now retired. But it's also about his daughter, Maddie. Maddie Bosch is becoming this really good, she's a good patrol officer. She wants to be a detective. She certainly has the skills. And she wants to join Renee Ballard's cold case unit. And she has a lead on solving a murder that is definitely a cold case. And she just really plunges into this. And it's kind of like a full circle for Michael, because Harry Bosch mentored Renee Ballard. Renee Ballard is now mentoring Maddie Bosch. And it's also about Connelly's kind of the legacy that Bosch is leaving and the legacy of his novels. And it's, as usual, much about Los Angeles, much about the history of Los Angeles, and also the history of some of its famous crimes, which I don't want to get into because it's a real shocker when it does. And what I like about Michael Connelly's books is his characters are always so insightful, so real, and he writes women so well. Ever since his first book, you feel that these are real people with real struggles. It's called The Waiting. Don't wait.
Don't wait. And you always say that nobody writes LA like Michael Connelly.
That's true. But also it's interesting that so many authors can look at LA and have a different vision of him.
Ooh.
Like Jordan Harper's Everybody Knows, which was an LA Times Book Prize finalist last year. He has a totally different view of LA. And
Walter Mosley.
Walter Craze, who has a new book coming out in January, writes about that. I love the fact that LA is so different to each author. And yeah, Michael knows LA. I mean, he nails it. So don't wait.
Don't wait on The Waiting.
That's right. The next one is The Gray Wolf by Louise Penny. Sarah, this discussion could not be more timely, because I think The Gray Wolf comes out tomorrow. And she took a year off to write about Gamache, her detective. So back in full swing. Gamache is used to dealing with the dark side of people. But it usually doesn't take him too far from Three Pines, the Canadian village he lives in. This time, the Gray Wolf takes him to international terrorists. It takes him around the world. These are terrorists who want an international mayhem. And the plot goes from Three Pines to Montreal to the White House to, I think, London, and to the Vatican. It's just a full thing around.
Wow. And, I learned about Louise Penny when she was at a Thriller Fest honoree this year for her service, the Silver Bullet Award, that she actually rewrote all of her books to be at a fifth grade reading level or below, so that adults who struggle with literacy could still connect with her books. And I thought, what an amazing gift that is.
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really amazing to hear about.
Oh, that's cool. That's great. Okay. Want to go to November?
Yeah, let's go to November.
Okay. Again, pronunciation: Guilt and Gitan.
Oh, you have some comments coming in. Sharon Bishop saying Bosch is such a great show.
Oh, series is wonderful.
Britton Haller saying that sounds so great. Oh my gosh, totally. I haven't read it either. So this is I'm adding to my reading list as well.
And Connolly's the series Lincoln Lawyer just dropped too. I think it's on Netflix. It's the third season. That's a terrific season, a terrific show also.
Oh my gosh, I've been watching it too, and I just was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if Britton Haller is related to Mickey Haller. We've got some Michael Connor. This could be related. We don't know.
I don't think so, but that's a good thought. Any other questions about what we just talked about?
I think you do have some questions, but we can. Do you want to? So maybe do you want to get to your? It's up to you. Do you want to get to your other book picks, or do you want to pause here? And I think I have gotten the tech going now with the they're just with the pictures that you are referencing. So I hope I can bring them on now. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, let's go to November and then decide what we want to do. Guilt and Gina Tyne, I think it is. It's
Here we go.
Rosy Kitchen Mystery by Mia Manasala. Again, I apologize for the mispronunciation. I think this is just such a fun series. She writes cozies, which I don't often read, but they have an edge to them. They're about Filipino American culture. They are about family, the family you have, the family you make, the relationships you have. She has a very diverse cast of characters in there, which I really like. And it also is very much about small towns, because it's set in Shady Pines, Illinois, which is a very small town. And the plot is a woman is killed in a corn maze during their annual corn festival. And it goes from there, because they don't know if her wife, who's the mayor of a bordering town, is the killer, or what happened, or was the mayor actually the victim, the target. It's about corruption, stalking, and everything that kind of goes into a good mystery. There also are some really good food, because it takes you to this Filipino culture, the dishes, and I always leave hungry. It's just a really fun series. Okay, next one.
And she's been on your best pick. She's been on your best pick before, right?
She has been.
Yes, I thought I recognized her, and I love that she's defying your usual, no cozy policy, not a policy, but
not a policy. I kind of gravitate more towards a hard boiled.
Yes.
But, there's some really good cozy amateur sleuths out there, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
That really kind of rise above that subgenre. And I don't mean to, be negative towards it, because there are some really good books there. They're also like all across the mystery genre. There's some bad ones too.
Yes.
So, Double Barrel Bluff by Lou Berney. I would probably read a phone book if he wrote it.
Okay.
He manages to combine dark comedy and the noir look. A former getaway driver who says he's retired, is pulled out of retirement to try to find an LA mob boss who's been kidnapped in Cambodia. It's a woman, which adds another little thing to it. And she's been kidnapped by these two clueless guys who think that she's just a rich American tourist and they can get a couple $1 million from her. They have no idea what they're dealing with. They don't know that she is one of the most powerful mob bosses in LA, and she can crush them like an ant.
Oh my God, I love the sound of that.
Yeah, it's quite good. His Dark Road was a finalist last year for the LA Times Book Prize, and this is, I think, the second or third in the series about this a getaway driver. Do you ever notice nobody retires in these books? They think they're going to retire, but they do not.
I love that. Do you ever? I do notice that, Aline. I do indeed.
I noticed you put out the link to Murder by the Book. That's a great bookstore in Houston. I highly recommend it. It's an independent bookstore. Owned by a lovely woman, and she knows her stuff. She knows her stock. So if you're going to order from her.
Yes. Yay.
Okay, I have another little cozy here.
Okay.
Okay, it's called Dominoes, Dancing, and Death, and it's by Raquel Reese. This is the fourth novel in this series, and it's about a Cuban American woman who is a food anthropologist, which I never knew what it was, but it's looking at food through the cultural aspects of it. And she has a TV show in South Florida, actually two, in which a cooking show, which she's looking at the food. She's moved back to South Florida with her husband and her son, and it's also just very much about the culture, about South Florida, which is very interesting. And in this one, her husband's hotel project is delayed because they found some skeletons underground, which belong to Native Americans. So you've got finance, you've got history, you've got heritage. I think it's a very exciting series, and it really kind of elevates the whole South Florida genre. Raquel Reese, Dominoes, Danzon, and Death. And I hope someone can tell me how to pronounce that second word. So we're up to December now.
Okay.
And December usually is kind of short, but it is just loaded this time. So do you want me to continue, Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And someone is saying that Britain is saying Lou Burney is on the faculty at next May's Sleuth Fest Mystery Writers Conference. Thank you for letting us know, Britain.
And that's in May, I believe, in Clearwater.
Okay.
So Sleuth Fest is a great festival. Not a festival, I'm sorry. It's a writers' conference, and it really stresses the craft of writing. Highly recommend it if you can attend. Okay, December, like I said, it's packed. And usually December, there's nothing coming out. First, we have Havoc by Chris Bolin. And this is about a meddling old woman and a very malicious young boy. I think he's like 8 or 9. And they are at odds in this hotel. She just wants to be left alone. He wants to create chaos. And they are in this hotel that is on the Nile. And not everyone comes out of this really good. I really enjoyed Christopher Bolin's novel since A Beautiful Crime, which came out a couple years ago. It was one of my top ones of the year. And A Beautiful Crime was about two young men who were just starting their relationship and got caught up in this heist, and it was just beautiful. That was set in Venice. He has a habit of setting his books in very exotic areas and showing us the ins and outs, not the tourists, what you see, but the people who really live there. Havoc is set in Egypt, and I kind of want to go to Egypt now.
I've always wanted to go to Egypt, so this is just added to the list.
Add it to the list. The next one is Alter Ego by Alex Segura.
I'm interviewing Alex next month.
Oh, wonderful! Well, I was on the committee that awarded him the LA Times Book Prize in 2022, and that was for Secret Identity, which is set in the comic book world. Alter Ego is a sequel of sorts about the comic book world. It's also about sexism, which is within comics. It's about the art of creating art, and finance, and all the stuff that goes into art that really isn't about art. It's about a young woman who has always loved comics. It's been her life. Comics didn't love her back, so she went into the movies. Now she's kind of drawn back into it. And she's very fascinated with this comic that came out in Secret Identity called The Lynx, which was about a female superhero, the first one. And she is called to reinvent that series. Really, even if you don't care about comics, because there's so many other things going on in that, especially about art and how it's created. And his characters are really terrific. Okay, moving on. How am I doing on time?
You're doing great. We have till 9. You have all the time you want. I do. And now that we have the tech working, I want to go back through all the slides at the end, because now that the tech is connected.
Great.
We can do that. Yes.
Okay. Echo by Tracy Clark. This is a police procedural, and she does such a good job of looking at Chicago, and you can see it's set in the wintertime, so it's probably perfect for right now. At Chicago, and the police department, and her character's own dealings with grief. In this one, a senior at a very exclusive private Chicago college may have committed suicide by jumping off a roof, but not really. It kind of links back to a decades-old death that occurred at the college. This young man's from a very wealthy family. His father is very wealthy. And it features an anonymous group called Justice. They're a vigilante crew, and they are out for what they consider justice. It's really revenge. This is her 4th novel, I think, with Chicago detective Harriet Foster. And she also looks at Harriet dealing with grief, about her former partner who was killed on the job, about racism, Harriet is black, and sexism, and all the things that she has to deal with to do her job. Really terrific series.
I love Tracy Clark, and I love police procedurals, and this series is so good.
It is. I think she won the Mary Higgins Clark Award.
Yes, she just won, and she just won something. She just won, I think, something else. I think she won at BoucherCon a few weeks ago.
Yes, she did. And I was there.
I wasn't there, but I watch everything online.
Okay, moving on to Rivals. This is by Jane Peck. And
yes,
kind of a different. It's a trade paperback, because not everything I read is hardcover, because there's a lot of good books coming out in trade paperback. And this is about a private investigator. She's hired to verify the identities of online dates. She's a huge mystery fan, and so this job is just right up her alley. And in The Rivals, she's caught up in a plot that combines corporate espionage, online dating, and a AI company that is really sleazy. And of course, there's a murder.
Of course.
It's a follow-up to The Verifiers, which came out a couple years ago, which I absolutely loved.
I love that too. I interviewed her for that.
And it's about her background is Chinese. So you have a lot about the Asian culture. She was raised by a Chinese single mother, and you have about her relationship with her mother, and also her relationship with women, and how she's come to deal with her sexuality and embrace it. So you have just a lot of things going on about this young woman, and I just think it's a terrific series.
Yay!
Okay, Trouble Island by Sharon Short. Excuse me, one second. I haven't read this yet, but it clicks all the boxes for me, especially for a historical. It's an historical that is inspired by a real island in the middle of Lake Erie. And Trouble Island takes place in 1932.
I love it.
No, right? This is an island that is known as a stopover for gangsters between the United States and Canada.
Ooh.
Bootleggers, but other things too. And the wife of one of the prohibition gangsters is murdered, and her maid is pulled. It has to find out who killed her boss, and also stay safe, because this is not a good place for a single young woman to be. It's not
No.
a good place for anybody to be unless you're a gangster. I'm really looking forward to it, and I have it on my absolutely must read.
Well, I love historical. I love bootleggers. This is my jam. And I had not heard of this book, Aline. So thank you. This is why I love having you on. I love your eye for books and the way that you review. And so I'm adding this to my TBR immediately.
This is by Minotaur, and it comes out December 10th.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be good.
Thank
The Secret of the Three Fates by Jess Armstrong.
Ooh.
It's also a Minotaur book. This is the next in a series that follows last year's debut, which was The Curse of Penrith Hall. And it's a historical. It's kind of a cozy, but not really. So I guess I do break my rules sometimes. Ruby Vaughan is back as she travels to Scotland, and the Scotland borders actually. She thinks she's going to appraise a manuscript for a rare bookshop owner,
Ooh.
but not really. She ends up, there's a seance going on there. There's a murder in the middle of the seance, and it kind of goes from there.
Oh my God.
Last year was a great debut. I'm looking forward to this one to be good also.
Oh, Aline, Lee Raymond is joining us and says, I don't think I've ever heard the phrase "I love bootleggers" in an interview before. I'm really enjoying the back and forth between you two.
Lee is my sister-in-law.
Hi, Lee.
She was here for a couple weeks ago for a family event. So thank you, Lee. She said she was going to join. Thank you for coming. I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you, Lee.
It's great when relatives and friends show up.
I just love Aline. So I just could listen to Aline talk all day long. And here's the link where you can buy the book.
Okay. Next one is also a debut.
Ooh.
It's called Booked for Murder, and it's by P.J. Nelson. Look, it's also a Minotaur. Apparently has several Minotaur books here. It's about a woman who, having failed to make a career in drama, she wanted to be an actress. It just did not work. And she comes to a small Georgia town because her recently deceased aunt has left her a bookstore. And, she doesn't really care about it, but it's a job and it's something she can do. The plot touches on small town grudges and feuds, ambitions that not really realized, and also the idea that sometimes you don't get what you want, but you get what you need, which is kind of a Rolling Stone song too.
Which is one of my favorite Rolling Stone songs.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I love it. I want that at my funeral.
I love that you've planned that out. I'm going to add that to my funeral playlist, Aline.
The Case of the Missing Maid by Rob Osler.
Ooh.
This is from Kensington. A couple of years ago, I kept hearing everybody at VoucherCon was talking about Rob Osler's The Devil's Chew Toy. And it was getting so much buzz. This one is set in 1898 Chicago. And it's about a woman named Harriet Morrow. She's hired on a trial basis to be a private investigator for a detective agency.
Ooh.
And, she's going to be the only woman. And that's not really a career women had then.
No.
So she kind of has to go undercover to be undercover. She has to wear men's clothes. She rides a bicycle to her investigations. They're not cars then. If they were, she wouldn't have one. And it has her touching on sexism that's set in a historical context, on her own sexuality. She's gay, set in that historical context. And her first case is searching for a maid who's disappeared from a South Chicago mansion.
Mm,
It's going to be a fun read.
that is a fun read, and you can order the book right here in the link. That sounds fabulous. What year is it, Aline?
1898.
Oh my God, I love historical. This sounds fabulous.
Yeah, it wasn't that was also the Gilded Age. So
Oh my
there's
God,
there
I'm watching the HBO show. I love it.
I loved it too. I loved it too. There's great characters in there. Okay, Close Up by Pip Drysdale.
Oh, yay. I'm interviewing Pip in the beginning of December. She's coming back. She was on in 2020. She's coming back 4 years later.
Oh, she should be fun. She's an Australian writer, and in this one she's writing about a writer who gets $1 million advance on her first novel. How great is that?
That is great.
Your career is set. Nothing is bad's going to ever happen. The book bombs. It just bombs. And now her second book, because she has a contract, of course, is due. Her money is all gone. And she doesn't quite, and also her confidence. She's lost her confidence and her will to really do anything. She claims that she's writing a high concept thriller that's based on a celebrity she knows. But then the plot thickens, and maybe the celebrity is not that happy about being exposed.
Uh-oh, that sounds really good. Oh my God, I'm loving everything about this. I love when writers write about the publishing industry. It's just so juicy.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot about the publishing industry in this one, which I think I love that insider track.
Me too.
You know, I didn't give you a couple books because I just forgot to, but I just reviewed this one called Night of the Woods. Night Woods by Paula Munier.
Uh-huh.
And it's about veterans and dogs, working dogs. And that's a trend right now in mysteries. And her main character is a former veteran. Her dog was also a veteran and worked with her in Afghanistan.
Oh my God.
It's a really terrific series. So, and I'm sorry I didn't give that to you before.
Anything with it, I'm sorry, is that called The Night Woods?
The Night Woods by Paula Munier.
Munier. Okay, I'm pulling it up right now. Anything with a working dog, I am just such a sucker for. And anytime I see a working dog, I just melt. Oh my God, I love working dogs.
And there's actually several working dogs. There's Search and Rescue, dog named Sugar Bear. There's Elvis, who is a shepherd. And it's a really good series.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, now that we have did you want to talk about another one, Aline?
One more. I'm sorry I didn't give this.
No, I want to hear it.
Okay, this is called The Secret War of Julia Child. Yeah. But it's about how Julia Child was actually a spy during World War II, briefly.
I heard that. Is this true?
Yeah, apparently so. You know, Susan McNeill had her Maggie Hope series. The last novel talked about how Coco Chanel was kind of with the Nazis, and so this is not unusual. And James Benn, his Phantom Patrol has J.D. Salinger when he was a young soldier, and David Niven, who gave up his Hollywood career to fight during World War II. It's just kind of weaved in there. I mean, it's amazing when you realize how many celebrities did their part for their country.
Yes, exactly. That is so true. That is so true. Thank you for referencing that. And it's so inspiring. And, you know, I love to cook so much. So anything about Julia Child is a big yummy yes for me.
And the author is named Diana Chambers.
Ooh, that sounds so great. Anything historical and anything with cooking or with Julia Child is so fabulous. So thank you for these two. I love how you're keeping me on my toes, Aline, with the last minute additions.
Sorry about that.
No, this is a mystery and thriller show. You're keeping me. You have to stay on brand with the mysteries and the thrillers. So
there were so many good books out this year that it was just kind of, I figured if I just do the fall ones, that's enough. And I have some real favorites that just really caught my eye.
Well, I mean, I just yeah, and I love. I mean, I just think you have the absolute best eye. So, I'm so excited to have you on and to hear because I love to know what catches your eye because there's so many books and also why they catch your eye. So it's not just what catches your eye, but not just the what, but the why is always so helpful. So I'm going to buzz through. So here are your picks again. So we have Tasha Alexander. And then we have Leave the Girls Behind. Then we have The Puzzle Box by Daniel Trussoni. And look at that gorgeous cover. I mean,
Isn't
that is,
that lovely? That says everything about the Asian culture, the mystery
yeah.
there. It's just a beautiful cover.
And I love the yellow peonies and the delicate, I love peonies, but then the beautiful purple dragon. This cover is a work of art. I love that. And then the last one at the wedding by Jason Rekulak.
You don't know how to pronounce it either.
Hopefully I'm saying that right. Michael Connolly, The Waiting. Louise Penny, The Gray Wolf. Guilt and Genaton. Double Barrel Bluff by Lou Burney. Dominoes, Danzone, and Death.
Death.
Havoc by Christopher Ballin. Alter Ego by Alex Segura, coming on to Mystery and Thriller Mavens in November. Echo by Tracy Clark, always a favorite. The Rivals by Jane Peck. Trouble Island, Sharon Short. The Jess Armstrong, The Secret of Three. Oops, that's covering it. What was the Secret of Three? The Three Fates. The Three Fates. Oh my goodness, my brain. Booked for Murder, PJ Nelson. The Case of the Missing Maid. The Close-Up by Pip Drysdale. And I was able to pull those last two covers for you, Ali.
Great.
War of Julia Child and The Night Was by Paula Mounier. Well, so here we have it. Legendary book critic Oline Cogdill's 20 best books of 2024.
Well, of the fall.
Of the fall of 2024. And Shirley Wetzel joining us from Facebook saying, I love James Benn's World War II novels. Oh, that's a new author to me. Thank you, Shirley.
Oh, he was here for the literary feast in South Florida this past year. And I moderate that panel. He was talking about a reader had emailed him that she went to Paris, to France, to visit the grave of her first husband, and he was killed in action.
Oh my God!
She took his book with her because he describes so well what these young men went through. I mean, that's how mysteries, I think, touch people. They really touch us. And everything comes down to the characters and who they are.
That is, that's so true, Aline. And I love when I'm reading a book and I'm also learning. Like, of course, I love a page turner. Of course, I love to be sucked in. But the novels that I really feel fed by are the ones where I'm also learning something, whether it's about World War II, whether it's about service dogs, whether it's about Japanese culture and the imperial family. I love to learn, or Chinese culture, or the food or the family or whatever. I mean, I love to learn. So
I agree. I joke that everything I know now I've learned through mysteries.
Well, oh my gosh, we should get t-shirts. Everything I've learned, everything I know I've learned through mysteries. And look at all these gorgeous covers. I mean, we have just such an array of gorgeous, intriguing, fabulous books and covers. Aline, this is just such an incredible array you have served us. Thank you. There's truly something for everyone here, whether you like cozies, whether you like hard-boiled detectives, police procedurals, thrillers, whodunits, golden age whodunits, historical, modern, 1800s, Gilded Age, World War II. There's literally something for everyone here. So what an incredible list from an incredible reviewer.
I do a top 20, and sometimes it's actually a top 25 every year for the Sun Sentinel. And it comes out in December. And I work on that all year because it's so hard to come up with what is my best book of the year and what is actually my top 5.
Yeah.
And it's something I work at. And I never take that lightly.
You and you, yes, you come to it with such such high intention and such care and concern, and that is why you are the legend that you are, Oline Cogdill, and why you
Oh,
are
thank
so
you.
revered and beloved in the mystery genre and beyond, from an LA Times Book of the Year jurist to the Sun Sentinel to Publishers Weekly to shelf awareness. All of us, your beloved fans, are just waiting with bated breath to see what books you review and why they catch your eye. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing this. And thank you everyone for watching with us. And thank you for everyone who commented and asked questions. And thank you for everyone who didn't, because I know we have some shy folks, and that's okay too. Just some watchers. I still see you. So Janice, Mary, Angie, Barb, Shirley, Carol, Michael, Beth, Tracy, Megan Underwood Beatty. Hi, Megan. Great to see you. Brittany, Raymond, Janet C, Janet M, Angie, Leonard, Linda, Ramona, Becky, Sheila, Stephanie, John, Rain, Vicky, Matt, Jane, Dave, Alan, Elaine, Casey, Kerry, oh my goodness, Mary H, Marie B, Brittany. And if I missed anyone, thank you so much. Jane, thank you for joining the conversation, saying thank you. This has been so interesting. Britton saying Arlene is the greatest. Thank you, Arlene. Britton, amen. And on that note, Arlene, we would love to have you back in January to give us your most anticipated
And
book.
I hope to be back here in January. Thank you all who showed up and who asked questions or who didn't ask questions. Thank you all for just being readers and, being book buyers. It's so important right now. And I hope you all have a great rest of the year. Sarah, thank you for having me.
Arlene, it is always a pleasure and an honor. And I couldn't have said it better myself. So, y'all, I hope your week is off to a killer start. And we will see you next Monday for Mystery Monday. May the days and the pages fly by.